When we cross the milestone of 50, our bodies begin to speak to us in ways they never did before. Sometimes it's a gentle whisper, a little stiffness in the knees, a longer recovery after a busy day. Other times, it's a louder signal, persistent aches, swelling in the joints. Or that deep fatigue that doesn't seem to fade no matter how much we rest. At the heart of many of these changes is something we can see with the naked eye: inflammation. Now, inflammation is not always the villain. In fact, it's the body's natural way of healing injuries and fighting infections. But when it becomes chronic, lingering for weeks, months, or even years, it turns into a silent fire, slowly damaging tissues, joints, and even blood vessels. Chronic inflammation is linked to many of the conditions we fear most as we age: arthritis, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even cognitive decline. The good news is that we are not powerless against it, and one of the most effective, scientifically proven tools we have is sitting right in our kitchen: food. Today, we're going to explore the top 10 anti-inflammatory foods that can help you reduce pain, improve mobility, and protect your health well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. And these aren't exotic, hard-to-find items. You might already have some of them in your pantry or fridge. Each one has a story, a reason it works, and a way you can easily include it in your everyday meals. Let's start with one of the most powerful, and perhaps the most delicious fatty fish. Think salmon, mackerel, sardines, or trout. These fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, which have been shown in multiple studies to calm overactive immune responses and reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. I once worked with a gentleman named Robert, 62, who had been struggling with morning stiffness from rheumatoid arthritis for over a decade. When he started adding baked salmon to his dinner twice a week and swapping out processed meats for sardines on whole grain crackers at lunch, he noticed something remarkable. Within 2 months, his hands were less swollen, and he could grip his coffee mug in the morning without wincing. The change wasn't magic, it was the steady, gentle effect of omega-3 south on his inflamed joints. Number 2 on our list is berries: blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. These colorful little fruits are packed with antioxidants called anthocyanins, which give them their vibrant hue. Anthocyanins help neutralize free radicals, which are unstable molecules that contribute to inflammation and cell damage. A dear friend of mine, Linda, who is 58, makes a simple habit of tossing a handful of frozen blueberries into her oatmeal every morning. She doesn't think of it as medicine, but she has noticed her skin looking brighter, her digestion feeling smoother, and her energy more stable throughout the day. Science backs her experience. Berries have been shown to reduce levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation. Number 3 is extra virgin olive oil, the golden elixir of the Mediterranean diet. Olive oil contains healthy monounsaturated fats and powerful compounds like oleocanthal, which has anti-inflammatory effects similar to ibuprofen without the potential side effects of long-term medication use. I always suggest replacing butter or margarine with olive oil when sautéing vegetables or drizzling it over salads. It's a small shift that can make a big difference over time. Number 4 is leafy greens: spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens. These vegetables are nutritional powerhouses, rich in vitamins A, C, and K, as well as magnesium, which plays a role in controlling inflammation. A retired teacher I know, Margaret, struggled with leg cramps and joint aches until she began adding a daily green smoothie to her routine. Within weeks, she noticed she was walking more comfortably during her evening strolls. The beauty of leafy greens is that they work synergistically with other foods. Pair them with olive oil, and you improve the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. And number 5 is nuts: almonds, walnuts, pecans, pistachios. Nuts provide healthy fats, fiber, and minerals like magnesium and zinc, all of which help regulate the body's inflammatory processes. Walnuts, in particular, are high in omega-3 south, making them an excellent choice for brain and heart health. I remember meeting a couple in their 70s who shared a daily ritual. They would sit together in the late afternoon with a small bowl of mixed nuts instead of cookies or chips. They said it was their longevity snack, and they credited it with keeping their cholesterol in check and their joints happy. We've covered 5 foods so far. And already you can see a pattern. These aren't fad diet trends, but timeless, whole foods that nourish you deeply. In the next part, we'll continue with the remaining 5 anti-inflammatory heroes. And I'll share practical tips on how to weave them seamlessly into your daily meals so they become second nature, not another chore on your to-do list. Number 6 on our list is turmeric, often called the golden spice. Turmeric contains curcumin, a compound with powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. In fact, curcumin's effects have been compared to certain over-the-counter anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the same risk profile when consumed as part of a healthy diet. The key, however, is absorption. Curcumin is not easily absorbed into the bloodstream, but when paired with a little black pepper, its bioavailability increases dramatically. I worked with a woman named Sharon, 55, who suffered from chronic lower back pain after years of working at a desk. She began adding a pinch of turmeric and black pepper to her morning scrambled eggs and sometimes stirred it into warm almond milk before bed. After several weeks, she noticed less stiffness when getting out of bed in the morning and fewer flare-ups after gardening. Number 7 is green tea. A soothing beverage that's also a nutritional powerhouse. Green tea contains catechins, particularly GCG, which help reduce inflammation and protect cells from damage. In many Asian cultures, green tea is a daily ritual, and it's no coincidence that these populations tend to have lower rates of inflammatory diseases. I often suggest replacing one afternoon cup of coffee with green tea. Not only does it provide a gentle lift in energy without the jitters, but it also delivers a steady stream of antioxidants to help calm the body's inflammatory response. Number 8 is tomatoes, which are rich in lycopene, an antioxidant that has been linked to lower inflammation, particularly in the lungs and throughout the body. Cooking tomatoes in olive oil increases lycopene's absorption, so think of tomato-based soups, sauces, or roasted tomatoes drizzled with a little oil. My neighbor Frank, a spry 68-year-old who still runs local 5K races, swears by his homemade tomato soup recipe. He makes a big batch every Sunday and enjoys a bowl each day. He says it keeps his energy steady and his recovery time after runs surprisingly short. Number 9 is garlic. A humble kitchen staple with remarkable health benefits, garlic contains sulfur compounds that boost the immune system and reduce inflammation. It also supports heart health by helping lower blood pressure and cholesterol. The best way to get its full benefits is to chop or crush fresh garlic and let it sit for a few minutes before cooking, allowing its active compounds to fully develop. I recall visiting a family in Italy where the grandmother, well into her 80s, still cooked every meal. She would always start by slowly sauteing garlic in olive oil, saying it was the beginning of life for any dish. Her vitality was a living testament to her philosophy. Finally, number 10 is dark chocolate, but not the sugary, candy bar kind. Look for dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa content. Cocoa is rich in flavonoids, plant compounds that help reduce inflammation and improve blood flow. In moderation, a small square or 2 can be a heart-healthy treat. One client of mine, George, 61, replaced his nightly dessert with a couple of squares of high-quality dark chocolate and a handful of almonds. Over time, his blood sugar levels improved, and he found he no longer craved overly sweet desserts. Now that we've covered all 10 of these anti-inflammatory foods, the next question is, how do we actually make them a part of our daily lives? It's one thing to know the list, it's another to weave it naturally into our routines so that eating for health becomes second nature. The secret is to start small and focus on enjoyment, not restriction. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Pick 2 or 3 of these foods to focus on for the next week. For example, you might start your mornings with oatmeal topped with blueberries and walnuts, swap your afternoon coffee for green tea, and add garlic and leafy greens to your dinner. Once these changes feel comfortable, you can introduce more. In my years as a health educator, I've seen time and again that sustainable change comes from building on small, positive steps. When people try to change everything at once, they often burn out. But when they focus on small wins, those wins build momentum, and before long, healthier choices become the default. In the final part of our time together, I want to take you beyond the list and into the bigger picture, how these foods work together to protect your body, how to shop for them wisely, and how to make them so delicious you'll look forward to eating them every day. We'll also talk about the emotional side of food because, after all, eating isn't just about nutrients, it's about joy, tradition, and connection. When we think about these 10 anti-inflammatory foods together, it's not just about adding one here and another there, it's about creating a balanced pattern of eating that gently supports your body day after day. Imagine a colorful plate, a piece of baked salmon glistening with a drizzle of olive oil, a side of sautéed spinach with garlic, a small salad with ripe tomatoes, and a handful of walnuts for crunch. For dessert, a bowl of mixed berries with a few squares of dark chocolate. It's not only nourishing, it's deeply satisfying. This is the beauty of eating in harmony with your body's needs. Shopping for these foods doesn't have to be complicated. One tip I often share is to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, where fresh produce, seafood, and dairy alternatives are usually found. Spend more time in the produce section than in the processed food aisles. When buying fish, opt for wild-caught when possible. And if fresh isn't available, frozen is a perfectly good option. It's often flash frozen at peak freshness. For olive oil, choose extra virgin and store it in a cool, dark place to preserve its beneficial compounds. For berries, frozen options are just as nutritious as fresh, especially in winter, and they're easy to keep on hand for smoothies or topping yogurt. When it comes to leafy greens, buy what you'll use in a few days to keep them fresh, or try frozen spinach and kale for soups and stir-fries. Turmeric can be purchased as a dried powder or fresh root. If you find the fresh version, you can peel and grate it into curries, soups, or teas. Garlic and tomatoes are easy to keep stocked. Just remember that canned tomatoes can be a convenient option, but choose ones with no added salt or sugar. Green tea comes in many varieties, from grassy Japanese sencha to toasty Jamaica. Experiment to find one you enjoy. Dark chocolate should be savored, not rushed. Let it melt slowly on your tongue. Beyond the practical steps, I want to talk about something equally important: the emotional connection to food. For many of us, eating is tied to comfort, celebration, and even identity. The smell of garlic sizzling in olive oil might remind you of family gatherings. A bowl of berries might bring back memories of summer mornings. Food has the power to connect us to our past while shaping our future health. When you choose anti-inflammatory foods, you're not giving something up, you're giving yourself more years of vitality, more energy to spend with grandchildren, more mornings where you wake up without stiffness, more evenings where you can walk hand in hand with someone you love without pain slowing you down. I've seen people transform their lives with these changes, not overnight, but gradually, in a way that sticks. Robert, the gentleman who added salmon to his diet, not only reduced his arthritis symptoms but also regained the confidence to join a local hiking group. Linda, with her blueberry oatmeal, found she had the energy to take dance classes again. These are not extreme diets or complicated regimens, they are simple, joyful habits that honor your body's needs. As we close this conversation, I want you to remember that every meal is an opportunity. It's a chance to nourish yourself in a way that reduces inflammation, supports your immune system, and enhances your quality of life. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent. Start today, even with one small change, and let it be the beginning of a ripple effect that touches every part of your health. And if you ever feel unsure, come back to this list of 10 foods. Let it be your compass, guiding you toward meals that heal rather than harm. Think of them not as a prescription, but as trusted friends always ready to support you, one bite at a time.